Hello everybody, how you doing today? What's up guys, Whisper15 here. So in this video I want to go over this ruling that is somewhat new. It came out a few months ago I believe, but it's still relatively new because it came out this year. And a lot of people still don't know about this new ruling, so I just want to go over it real quick so all of you guys are on the same pitch, the same page, so we can read the book together. The new ruling is basically that card effects must activate where they are designated to activate, and otherwise, the card will not activate. So that must sound kind of confusing, but I will show you some example to demonstrate the sexiness of the sexy. So for the first example, we have a Stellar Knight Deneb in the graveyard and a face down Call the Haunted. So my opponent is a big asshole and decide to MST the back boo. And so I'm like, no shit, what can I do here? So at this point, I'm like, can I chain the Deneb and, maybe get the effect? Well, in the old ruling that's ruled out right now, I could actually activate the Call the Haunted, bring back the Deneb, and the chain resolves, and then in a new chain, have this be chain link 1 and actually activate. However, in this new ruling, if I decide to bring back the Deneb will not activate in the new chain because if you read the effect, it says, if this card is summoned, which implies it has to be face up on the field to activate. So, yes, cards cannot be summoned in the graveyard. So, it kind of is common sense right here. Just by game mechanic, this card cannot activate because it has to be in the specific location to activate, which is on the field. So, in this scenario, even if I decide to chain my Call the Haunted on the Deneb, this will die, blah, 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 and the Deneb cannot activate because it has to be on the field to activate. So, yes. Moving on to example 2. So, new scenario, this is pretty much the same thing as the Deneb one, but this is just a different example so you guys can get the point. So, basically, let's say we have it's called the Haunted, face down, and a Moral Talk right here. And in the graveyard, we have a Beagle Talk. And my opponent decides to activate MST on the Call the Haunted. And at this point, even if I chain Call the Haunted and bring this out and the chain resolves, this will not activate because by game mechanic, it only activates when it's summoned, and that implies on the field because you cannot summon in the graveyard. You cannot summon a card to the graveyard. Like, what the hell is that? This is not freaking like elementary school Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe when you're in 5th grade, maybe that actually happened, but in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! None of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So in this scenario, this cannot even activate because it has to be on the field to activate. So yeah, pretty simple. So yeah, this freaking dead Moral Talk will stay there. So let's say I have the big sexy Megaro in hand, as well as the Abyss Lead and Marksman. So yes, very sexy hand as you can see. Oh my god, the big reader, the handy hand job everywhere. And my opponent has one back row, as well as a DD Crow in hand. So yes, you already know what's about to go down, you know what I'm saying? The very sexy things. I reveal for Megalo. I ditch my lead and my marksman. And on the reveal, my opponent decides to chain DD Crow, targeting my marksman. And so the chain resolves, marksman gets banished, and Megalo is summoned. And in this chain, the chain after the reveal, marksman would usually activate if this was the old ruling. However, the ruling has changed, and even if the card is mandatory, it doesn't really matter. The effect can only activate if it's in the designated location to activate. So Marksman specifically reads, when this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect. To the graveyard is the key point. So for it to activate, in this case as chain link 1, it has to be in the graveyard to activate. So in this scenario, it is not in the graveyard when it's supposed to activate, so it will not activate. However, if your opponent misplays and you reveal Megalo, ditch these two, and on the reveal, my opponent does not respond with the DD Crow. And then when Megalo is summoned, Marksman will be chain link 1, targeting the back row, and then Megalo chain link 2. And then your opponent decides to chain DD Crow on the Marksman. That actually does absolutely nothing. So the chain resolves, this gets banished, this searches the spell and trap. And then Marksman can actually destroy the spell and trap because Marksman already activated. It doesn't really matter on resolution of the card where it is, as long as it activates where it's supposed to be. So in this scenario, if he chains DD Crow to the chain where Marksman already activated, then it has no effect on the Marksman. It already activated, so it will resolve. So yes, end of story. So in the third scenario, let's say I summon a tour guide, you know, the very sexy tour guide about to do the sexy dancing, get the money, the tour whore, okay, bring out the Sir, and overlay into Dante, and the graveyard I have a Skarm, for example, and my opponent has a DD Crow. That DD Crow again, you know what I'm saying? At this point, I decided to activate Dante as Chainlink 1. Cost, I choose to mill 3. So Chainlink 1 is going to be Dante, and I mill 3 as cost, and oh my god. Oh shit, so many Burning Abyss sexily. Okay, anyways, that'll be Chainlink 1, and you know, gotta remember, costs are always paid upon activation, so Chainlink 1. And Chainlink 2, my opponent decides to chain DD Crow on the Sir. So chain resolves, Sir gets banished, and Dante goes up to 25. And at this point, Sir would usually want to activate, however, it cannot activate because if you read frickin' Sir, if you know how to read Yu-Gi-Oh cards, it frickin' says, if this card is sent to the graveyard, okay? End of story. You cannot activate Sir because when it's supposed to activate, it has to be in the graveyard. In this case, it's banished. It's not in the graveyard. Banished, graveyard. Different things. So, but yes, Sir cannot activate in this situation, because it has to be in the specific location that it's required to be in to activate. Let's say your opponent is really bad and misplays, and so the same thing happens, blah blah blah, mill 3, do the dancing. Chainlink 1 Dante, and my opponent decides not to activate DD Crow in response to Dante. Okay, at this point, chain resolves, this goes up to 25, and then in a new chain, as Chainlink 1, I decide to activate Sir as Chainlink 1, let's say targeting Skarm. And my opponent is stupid and chains DD Crow on the Sir, and not the Skarm, okay, for some odd reason. And okay, so chain resolves, Chainlink 1 is the Sir, Chainlink 2 is DD Crow, so it resolves, this gets banished, and then Chainlink 1 resolves, so Skarm comes out. Oh my god, okay, Skarm comes out. This is because it doesn't matter where the card ends up as long as it already activated. But yes, this is completely different from the last scenario because the card hasn't even activated yet. In this situation, it's already activated as Chainlink 1, so no matter where it ends up, it will resolve. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys learned a little something about this somewhat new ruling. And if you have any questions, just leave in the comment section below and I will get back to you ASAP. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe, thumbs up, and do the dance. As always, you know what I'm saying. Peace. Time to play some billiard, you know, the very sexy ball game. And oh my god, holy shit, it's the big daddy himself. Oh shit, he looking down at me, you know. I'm his bitch, holy shit, mackerel, all hail mackerel.